Hello and welcome to your tutorial on the grid drawing process. This process uses a grid or a matrix or lines and squares to help you transfer and figure out what you are drawing from an image directly to a piece of paper. So one of the things you will definitely need for this is a ruler, a pencil, and for this first part, I recommend a pen Sharpie or a pen, just because it shows up better. So to start your grid, you can see I've actually got half of mine done. You want opposing vertical and horizontal lines, and I'm just using a 1-inch grid here. You could do 2 inches and make a mark every 2 inches instead of 1 inch, but it's going to be a little bit more precise for me if I go 1 inch at a time. Now, you'll also want to start with a picture that is either already black and white or you think will transfer well. That means it should have some really nice dark values, some strong medium values, and some light lights. You want it to be able to be photocopied. I have some great posters that zoom in on the eyes, and that's what I photographed here. I picked one of an elephant, but printing off of the internet or bringing in a photograph from home is absolutely okay for this as well. So one of the things that I do here is I start with a series of 2 marks, and this is where I pick 2 sides, and in this case I went from the top to the bottom. That's how I got these horizontal lines. To get my vertical lines, I decided to go from the left side of my paper only. I'm always making sure that I start on the same side. So here I zeroed in on the edge of my picture, and then I made a mark every inch. Again, you could try for 2 inches. This one has a lot of little details, so to be a little more precise, I did 1 inch. And then I go down to the bottom, and I did the same thing, and you can see where my marks are every inch. Now, I do 2 sets of marks because then I'm going to match up the marks top to bottom. That's how I got these lines nice and straight and even with the edges of my paper. I had 2 marks, one towards the left, one towards the right, and then I connected them. So it's a connect the dots. I'm going to line up my ruler on the top dot and on the bottom dot, and I'm going to switch here to my Sharpie pen so that you can see how this works. And there is my grid. Next, I am ready to finish gridding up my paper. So I'm going to work in the same way here. This time I have my vertical lines, or I could turn my paper like this, and I could go with the horizontal lines, but I'll show you the other way just so you can see how that works as well. This time I'm only going to use a pencil because I want to be able to erase this grid later on. I have chosen a gray piece of paper. You could use a piece of colored drawing paper as well. It can add a little bit of something to the artwork itself and change it a little bit, because while we're using a visual reference and we're trying to get it as close to accurate as we can, we still want to use that creativity and find a way to change it and make it our own. This is one way that I do that. It does add a little bit of extra challenge because I'm going to have to add in my highlights or the whitest parts. So here, again, I'm going to line up and I'm going to mark every inch. I want my grids to match. And again, 2 sets of marks measured from the same side are going to be nice and straight and give me a good, accurate grid. Okay, my grid is drawn nice and lightly. My grid is on the image that I'm going to transfer. Now it's your turn to go ahead and grid your papers.